Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time. In this, our fourth season, we're looking at Kenneth Branagh's 2011 film, Thor. I'm Matthew Fox from the Ethical Panda family of podcasts.
And I'm Andy Nelson from the Next Reel Film Podcast.
And today we're talking about minute 84, which begins with Sif making a grand entrance and ends with Volstagg not looking so good. I was going to say not looking so hot, but he's literally on fire, so not so good will work. Joining us on the show today, we have Robin Burdge from the Karate Kid Minute and Travis Bowe from Real Comic Heroes, Marvel Events Timeline, and the Watchmen Minute. To both of you, happy Thor's Day. It's Thursday. It's Thor's Day. So we're asking everyone every week, what is your favorite Thor moment? This can be from MCU, comic books, Adventures in Babysitting, a video game, a back of a cereal box, whatever it is.
I would tell you, but it's a Thor subject.
No. Well played, sir.
Yeah.
Well played.
Thanks.
I know mine, and I'm gonna cheat because it's really kind of a Captain America moment, but it's in Endgame when Captain America lifts Mjolnir. But it really is a Thor moment, and because it calls back to the Age of Ultron in that awesome sequence where they're all, just having fun, testing out their worthiness, trying to lift Thor's hammer,
Yeah.
And initially in that moment in Age of Ultron, Thor looks nervous. Like he can see that it wiggles when Cap, goes to lift it. And he has that nervous moment. And you cut to Endgame and he sees that his friend is worthy. And he says, I knew it, with that pride. And it just thinking about it, it gives me chills. I love that moment so much.
Yeah. And
just the smile on Thor's face when he sees that Captain America is able to wield, Mjolnir. I just love that.
It's so subtle, but it's such a great moment of growth for him because he goes from being insecure about it to, I have a brother.
Yeah.
And I just love that. Robin?
I would say I'm thinking about the more funnier scenes with Thor, and I always love the relationship that he has with the Hulk. They're smashing each other back and forth in the Avengers. And then, of course, in Ragnarok, when Hulk comes into the arena and Thor's like, yeah! I know him from work.
Which I will forever be angry that they showed us that moment in the trailer. Because that would have been such a great reveal.
I think prior to Endgame, my favorite Thor moment would be in next week's minutes when he confronts the Destroyer and is really confronting Loki. Again, it comes down to worthiness. That's when he proves that he has grown so much and he is worthy, so.
Yeah. Right. We'll have a lot more to say about that in just a moment.
Do you want to wear some Marvel Movie Minute inspired clothing this new year? Or maybe you're looking for a mug with our mugs on it. Find what you're looking for at the online store. Go to truestory.fm/Marvel Movie Minute and click on merch.
I want to talk about the plan and if this was what they had in mind all along, but let's just take a moment to talk about the epicness of this shot of, the Destroyer's there, it's charging up the fire cannon, it's about to hit Volstagg, and the camera doesn't focus on her, but out of the corner of the screen, Sif is just leaping in with her spear. What do y'all think of the way this was shot?
I really like it because it in a smart way, it uses the telephone pole to bridge the gap between the building that she's on and the Destroyer, because you can see that the foot that she has out in front of her, like her lead foot changes because she uses one of the steps that this telephone pole has to kind of change, like to use that as a step, and then gets a new momentum as she dives down onto the Destroyer. I think it's a cool use of the telephone pole.
I did not even see that, and I just backed up oh, wow. I was like, wow, that was just a mighty leap from the rooftop. But yeah, she kind of pogos off the telephone pole.
Yeah, it's super fun.
It's a great, this and like I think when Volstagg is thrown, great use of what I am assuming is wire work where they have the actor suspended, because I mean, it really looks like a person moving off of the roof here. And so I'd like to think that they have some, I mean, who knows? I would assume that they're on a wire and jumping and hitting that step on the telephone pole and then probably landing in a pad, whatever it is. But it's a great looking moment. And especially with that destroyer coming in, blocking out the sun over Volstagg and then opening up its face to incinerate him. All of this combined, I mean, this little section right here in this minute is possibly like my favorite kind of sequence with the destroyer. I think from this moment with her doing that all the way through this moment that we have in just a moment, it's just so cool. I think that all of this is really, really well done.
I love how her spear just explodes out of its neck, and there's like a little fire burst as it goes down. It's a well composed action beat.
Very much so. Well, and so we talked yesterday about the plan. Did she kind of like assess the situation and this was her plan all along, or was it like, you distracted, I'll figure out something?
Yeah, I think she knew she needed to kind of get behind it, figure out a way to I don't know that she thought that the throwing Volstagg was going to fail and that she would be in this position to have to save him. But yeah, I think her initial plan was to get behind it and outflank it, I guess.
Yeah.
Take the high ground.
Yeah, it's a classic raptor attack right here. She wanted the warriors to be distracted in the front so she could attack from the side. Clever girl.
Right.
Girl, yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Sorry.
I love it.
Looks like more like a 6-foot turkey to me.
Oh, no, it's perfect. Yeah. and then so we get this wonderful, like, it's such a cliche that sometimes it's overdone, but here I didn't mind it, where like you think that it's defeated. It's turned off, the fire is gone. And then it basically turns itself back on, doing this whole like rotating itself entirely.
So awesome.
Which I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever, but I don't care because it looks amazing.
See, I love the lines that the destroyer has. Once it starts to rotate, it makes perfect sense that it can do this. It's the perfect killing machine because it's adaptable. You can't kill it. It can just get right back up and change its direction, and just such a cool idea. I don't think the comics has this. I think this is new for the movie.
I think so, and it's one of it's possibly one of my all-time favorite things in the MCU is just watching the destroyer turn itself around. And if you watch it slowly, you can see like the thumb. It moves along kind of a track of the joints between the different panels or whatever they're called, and it like moves up a notch to reposition itself, and the fingers turn themselves around. Like the way that it's all designed. I think they took a lot of cues probably from the Transformers films as far as like the effects way that they figured out how to kind of like make all of those little parts move around and everything. It's just I don't know. For me, it's stunning to watch it go through this transformation because it just feels authentic, and it feels like something that it could potentially do. Like you were saying, Travis, like once you see it start, you're like, oh yeah, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah. The way that it's designed, that it can have that ability.
All that makes sense to me. What I'm stuck is, and I maybe should be missing something. Why? Like it could just turn around the way like any person does. Is it that for some reason that the machine is built in a way that this is easier, or is that like something about the spear, like that side is now damaged and so now it has to fight from this other direction?
I don't know. I guess in my head, I felt it was like, I know it's not as fast, but I felt it was like the Terminator in Terminator 2, where that liquid metal is able to reshape itself to get a better, to adapt itself better for the fight. And so in this particular case, it's like, does it always need to do this? It's the only time it uses it. But I think that I don't know. I find that it's just a cool technique. And, it is one of those things that if they ever did bring the destroyer back, I'd love them to find more ways to use that so that we are seeing that it is an advantageous element in its design.
And I don't mean to back up at all, but, we talked a bit about great Thor moments. I think, is this maybe the best Sif moment here? That triumphant, I've killed it, and like the smirk on her face, and then how she's like, it starts powering up again, and like she starts looking worried, and jumps off the side. Yeah. I just think that's a great bit of acting from Jamie Alexander, and I just wish they used Sif more. I wish Sif got her own movie.
Right.
I think it is the best. I think it is the best movie Sif moment.
Okay.
I'm still partial to her coming in to punch Loki again and again and again for cutting her hair. Because she just is having so much fun with that. But yeah, that's definitely top 3, and I think probably the best on screen.
She had a great turnout on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. She livened up that show for a week and then had to go back off to Movie Land.
Yep.
Right. I love the smugness on her face. Like, she was the one to bring down the destroyer, and how that quickly turns to, oh crap.
Wait, what?
But like in terms of like bravery, she is Thor's equal as far as that goes. So. She is fearless, which is just awesome.
It is a shame that, that they just don't use her, and it's a shame they don't develop the Warriors 3 better. We've talked about that plenty of times on the show. I really do hope. I mean, Sif, as far as we know, is the only one who's not dead. I'd love to think that she does find her way into Love and Thunder.
I do think in the hands of Taika Waititi, and we know that Love and Thunder, I mean, they've released a few images, and I think they're kind of going for that 80s metal kind of vibe. The destroyer is so metal, it will fit in perfectly in that vibe. So I could see Taika bringing back the destroyer.
As long as you drop Iron Man. Well, then again, Iron Man needs Iron Man. Never mind. Don't take that back.
Yeah. No, I think it's very true.
Destroyer from Kiss.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I think it's very true. And I on my other podcast, I'm on record, I am not a fan of all of the time-space, multiverse, wibbly-wobbly stuff. But it does open up some storytelling. And I think in both Love and Thunder and in the Loki show, where we're so deep into the multiverse stuff, I think it's very possible that we're going to get like alternate versions of Asgard and stuff like that. And so Jamie Alexander can come back as Thor, the Destroyer can come back, the Warriors 3 can come back with better writing. All these things are possible.
Yeah. And just to confirm, she is coming back for Love and Thunder.
Oh, good. Awesome.
So is Matt Damon as actor Loki.
Yes.
Matt Damon.
Luke Hemsworth.
And interestingly, Melissa McCarthy as actor Hela.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Okay. So then we get to the part in my notes that I have written as fighty, fight, fight. I think there's a couple of themes that come up during the fight that I wanted to mention, but would we rather kind of just go through it moment by moment, or just kind of bounce around and talk about the things that come up during the fight?
It's just a couple of moments for me, but...
So, because before we were talking, like last minute, there was a little bit of discussion of like, does Destroyer actually want to kill Volstagg, or is it just dragging this moment out? This minute especially, we see it doesn't have very good aim. And like, granted, before it was killing frost giants when they were running in a straight line in this narrow hallway. But I don't know if this is just a stormtrooper issue where they only have good aim when the plot wants them to, or if maybe like they're not supposed to be killing anyone but Thor. That doesn't seem to make sense because Loki'd probably be just as happy with them dying. Is it just that we don't want characters dying is why they have bad aim, or do you think there's any story reason for it?
I think that was exactly it. I don't think we can kill these particular people.
Right.
If it had been like the whole Einherjar Guard who came down with them, then we could be wiping them out. But saving this particular group. But since it's them,
Matt Myra from like years ago from the Nerdist podcast had a kind of a joke or a funny observation about how does the X-Men character Cyclops miss when his beams come from his eyes? Like if you look at something, you don't often miss when you're looking at something, And so what with the Destroyer, like. I'm equating these beams as coming out of its eyes. Like, yeah, how would it miss?
I'm baffled, quite honestly. I mean, unfortunately, I think because what I think is kind of a terrible special effect, the destroyer kind of follows Sif along, lighting up the ground behind her, and then she sort of goes into like no clip mode.
Yeah,
and then just kind of launches away somehow. And does that mean the beam is pushing her, or is she jumps out of the way just in time? And I don't know. It looks really weird.
Yeah, if you kind of like drag your, if you got this minute isolated, you can kind of drag back and forth. The film or the frame gets real wobbly. Like if you look at the Warriors 3, like they get distorted. So it's just real. You think,
that's what I was thinking of. No clip mode.
Yeah,
like they don't really seem to be focused in very well. I don't know.
They seem to be doing a kind of a heat wave, like since this is coming in right under the frame, essentially, it seems like that we're getting a heat wave. But yeah, it does look like it's blowing up the ground right behind her, and then it blows the ground up and propels her, but it's just far enough behind her where it just throws her into the air instead of actually hitting her. Yeah, it's one of those moments.
There's another shot where the destroyer it lets loose a blast, and then it hits the ground right between the Warriors 3 and Sif, and then it like turns into a bomb blast. It's not one continuous beam that just separates them and blows them apart. It's just we haven't really seen it like use its powers to, I don't know, charge up the ground and then that cause it to explode. So
is there like a gas line under the screen it keeps hitting?
Right.
I am glad also that we brought up the Sif thing, because yesterday we talked about how it doesn't care about who it's fighting. It's just destroying everything. It seems to me like after Sif tries to kill it is now specifically targeting Sif, which would make sense if it has kind of a self-defense mechanism of, if someone tries to destroy you, like get them back.
She's the biggest threat at this point. She's done the most damage, I guess.
Yep.
And talk about hero. She's literally leading it away from the three limping away.
Yeah, definitely. We do see a couple times in the scene that something I think the MCU has established well in other things, but certainly in this movie, that windows in the MCU are constructed in such a way that no matter how many times you go through them, you will never be cut by flying glass. There's so many scenes where they show us like shards of glass flying everywhere and no one's hurt.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about there's a deleted scene tomorrow that obviously, but it was a deleted scene to your point. They're like,
Randall was like, no, we've got the Windows tech. We got to keep it in.
Exactly.
There's also a couple things we see here. We see Hair Affair, which that's the hair salon that's in town, and a Lost Cat poster.
Yeah, there's a Lot Cat poster over on the telephone pole right by Thor, which is there again. I love being able to see more of Puente Antiguo when we get new angles and everything. And I mean, when it lights up the street and blasts towards Sif, you get a great shot when it blasts the buildings, and you can see Hair Affair, you can see the Christmas Everyday store, and I love that over the top of it says "Ho Ho Ho" in big red letters with Christmas lights all around, and that's right next to the Huntsman. And so it's just like there are, I don't know, I love the design of so many of these little shops here in
Wait,
town.
Was there a business called the Huntsman? Really?
The Huntsman is the one that Volstagg was carrying those two guys. That's the rifle shop, the gun shop, the
gun store.
Well, it's funny because Hemsworth is in Snow White and the Huntsman. Yeah. I believe he plays the Huntsman.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's funny. And then we get Isabella's diner has not done very well in this fight. It's had a window blown out. A couple things have happened to it. But we get the scene of Volstagg was knocked into it, and he started like...
All three of them are knocked into it. Volstagg, Hogan, and Fandral all get blown through the window,
But it's Volstagg we see, and you see him like... It's that oh no moment where he's about to get shot, and then, they just blow up the diner. He flies out of the diner. He's on fire. And then he's slammed into the wall of a building. This does not seem like a good moment for our friend Volstagg.
No, he gets the run through the ringer here.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to need the healing room.
I'm going to have a comment on it next minute, because I'll admit, watching this, I thought he was dead. Like, to me, that's the building blew up. He was on fire. He got thrown aside. Like,
and what happens to the other two? Like, they're both in there. Why did they get blown up? What happened?
Right?
Yeah, getting the reaction shot of Volstagg right before the destroyer blasts kind of makes it seem like, okay, this is his death scene.
Yeah.
But it's a funny one, though. I mean, when he spots when the destroyer spots him from the road, his point of view, it makes it look like that scene from Signs when the video camera catches the alien stop and turn. He's like, oh no,
stop! Yeah, right. That's funny. Yeah. That is funny. And I mean, to your point. Well, one, I mean, we know Isabella's is on the corner, but we just saw, like, when they get blown through the window, it takes out like the whole, I don't know, the main street facing side of all of its windows. And then when it blasts Volstagg in there again, I mean, it pretty much destroys that. It takes everything out after that. Like, they're all gone. So yeah, Isabella is more than, well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. A lot of these buildings are getting pretty pummeled at this particular point.
Yeah, why didn't Volstagg grab a pie or something? I mean, I don't understand his character.
There was one on the counter that got jostled a little bit.
Yeah. Now it's cooked.
You know, I am well known on my other podcasts for really caring about, like, the bureaucratic details. And I'm watching this and I'm once again wondering what has happened to property insurance in the MCU? Because, like, do these all qualify as acts of God? Like, you know, what?
Yeah.
Acts of thunder God.
Literally, yeah.
Right? Exactly. So someone's got to make that show at some point.
Yeah, damage control was introduced in Spider-Man Homecoming. I wish they went further with that, but they didn't. But that would have been cool.
True. Yeah,
I mean, if I'm an insurance company, I am not insuring property damage after, like, the 5th movie. Like, we're done. You know?
Yeah, right.
Actuarial risks way too high.
Right.
So I think that's about all I had for this minute. Was there any other kind of cool details or questions people wanted to bring up?
You kind of touched on it, but one of the last shots we get is Eric and Darcy and Jane all just getting a face full of glass, and that always makes me cringe.
Yeah. There's a lot of glass in the moment. The only other thing I wanted to bring up, and Matthew, we have talked about this a lot. The elements of the Warriors 3 that get cut from the script, luckily, because in the moment where they decide they're going to throw Volstagg to stop the destroyer, there is a conversation that they have after Sif runs off. Fandral says, "What do you think? The Svartalfheim twist? Kiss of the hag? Face full of boot?" Volstagg grins eagerly. Volstagg, the flying mountain. Hogan and Fandral groan. Fandral, not the flying mountain. It threw out my back for a year last time. Volstagg, trust me, it'll work. So, again, another moment of Warriors 3 comedy that somehow we managed to miss.
That's interesting because the way that's written, that is straight out of the old Thor comics. Like, that is how they talk to each other.
Right.
Yeah, keep it in.
And mostly, I'm just thinking Volstagg, Gimli would be so disappointed in you. Like, come on, have some dignity, you know? Don't get thrown.
Now I want to see them use the Svartalfheim twist in another movie, though. What was that?
It could be an as-if episode.
Come on, baby. An as-if episode? That'd be... I'd love to see that corner of the MCU.
Right? I mean, well, What If didn't actually give us What If, so we can get... That's my own bitterness. All right, well, let's wrap up before I go into my own ranting. Too late. Travis and Robin, for our listeners, what's one thing that... like, if people were just going to check out one of your things, like a particular episode, a particular show, what would it be like? Okay, if you want to just, like, get the essence of what I do in podcasting, what should they check out?
Oh my God.
Take a 10-year career and narrow it down to 1 hour. Have fun.
I would say check out tomorrow's minute on Marvel Movie Minute. It'll sum up exactly what I'm made of, which I've yet to figure out.
Cool. Andy, you're hosting tomorrow.
I would say look up the Real Comic Heroes episode with Andy Nelson. He joined us for Punisher, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher film. So,
yes, I did.
Yeah, there we go. Look up Andy's episode for Glory of Love. It's called Glory of Love. It's in Karate Kid Minute. Just look that up. That's also some good Good fun.
I also had some good conversations over on the Fright Night Minute, too.
Yeah.
That was another fun show you did. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you again so much. We look forward to having you at least one more time this week. Andy, thank you as always. To our fans, you make this possible. Thank you, and have a great day.
Until next time, true believers.
Marvel Movie Minute is a production of True Story FM, engineering by Andy Nelson. This season's music is One Last Ride by Martin Puringer. Find the show at truestory.fm, and if your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, consider doing that for this show.